questions for Tom?
And thank you, Selectman Abbott, for attending the meetings. You tend to be a little bit vociferous there, but that's okay.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Tom. Okay, next under committee reports, we have EDC, and I see Chris Bennett from the committee, the chair of the committee, is here.
Thank you, thank you. It amazes me that you guys keep putting me and Tom on the same night. And sometimes you throw in Mike
We get to talk to Mike later.
I don't know, maybe you guys are glutton for punishment, I guess. All right. My name's Chris Bennett, chairman for the Economic Development Committee. The committee is working towards completing our goals for 2010 over the past 3 months. For those who don't know, the town signs have been constructed. They are essentially done. They have not all been put in. One has been put in. It's down near the state barracks, coming from Elford on 202 in Main Street. If you have not seen it, take a drive down. There was a picture, I believe, in the Reporter.
There's a picture on the website, too.
It's on the website?
Or at least it was.
The committee members are the ones that are putting that in. Looks like Gordon has a picture of it on his phone. The committee members have been planning to put these signs in all around town, and we've actually set up actual times and days to do it. And it seems like every time we do that, it rains. I feel like we've had the rainiest October ever, because every single Friday afternoon, let's do it on a Friday afternoon, because the people who are putting these signs in all own businesses. So for us to leave our businesses, it's time consuming. We have to plan ahead. So it seems like I could have sworn like 3 Fridays in a row it rained. And so it's been very difficult for us to get those signs in, finding time to get them in. But we will get them in. That sign over in South Waterboro took us 5.5 hours to put in. Doesn't seem like it would take that until we started to dig into the dirt and it was ledge. So things happen. So we will get those signs in as soon as we can. The committee has accomplished many of their goals so far, despite popular belief from some of the people in town. If you take a look at our agendas and what we do, we've got a lot done, but there's still a lot more to do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to talk about some of the things we have talked about, some of the things we will be talking about. The committee is transitioning to assist and prepare the town to be ready for expansion for companies looking for a new location and site to put their business. There's key areas that we have to be ready for by that time. The first key area is the commercial property inventory. We have already done that as a committee, but that inventory changes all the time. And whether it be a new piece of land that comes on to that inventory or a piece of land goes off that inventory. This inventory is a key tool for Tom to have at his fingertips. We can link that with our GIS system. But this, like I said, this document is constantly revolving with land coming on and off. Our next key area that we have to be ready for businesses that want to come to our town, is traffic counts. We often forget about this. It is in the best interest of the town to have solid traffic counts. One of the most important pieces of information for a prospective business entering our town would be traffic flow and counts. I met with the Road Review Committee within the last week, and I have asked for their help with this. This can be very time-consuming for the road review due to having one traffic counter. There's a strong need for at least one more, if not two, and here's the reason. The counters cost approximately $1,600 a piece. If you buy two, there is a discount. To get a proper count on a road, you need to leave a counter out there for a minimum of 8 days. You can see the problem with 67 miles of road in our town with one counter. It could take a full year to get counts without taking into account seasonal increases at our major throughways. An example would be getting counts simultaneously at the intersections of Route 202 and 5 near the Hannaford, and the intersection of Route 202 and Old Alfred Road, and the center of town here at the set of lights where Old Alfred Road intersects with Route 5 at Secocas Trail. Imagine that triangle right there. This triangle of roads will take just about a month to do with one counter, and only 8 days with 3. The road review is in full agreement with getting these counters. The problem is that we should have them already. The counters will assist the road review so they can determine which roads require more attention than others. Currently, we do not have a labor force study. Another key aspect of a successful business coming to our town would be the labor force that we could offer and fill their positions with. The census done this summer will help with this, and we await those numbers. We need to begin to think about businesses in the global marketplace. Having a helicopter pad that is accessible for those global businesses is without a doubt an added benefit. The Goodall Hospital location would be a great place because it would provide dual purposes in that location. For some of you that have been watching the news, the Racino in Biddeford got approved. They're looking possibly to put it near the Biddeford Airport. When you have something like that go in Biddeford, it's natural to have other businesses start to pop up around that. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're putting it near the airport. There's a reason to bring businesses to there, to bring people there. They're doing some investments at the airport to expand it. I think we need to start really thinking about what's going to happen over there. We are a bedroom community to that area, and like it or not, they will move west. So I think having a helicopter pad in our town, I'm not saying we have to do it in the next 6 months, but we should start thinking about that. If we have global business that comes to our town, they would love to be able to bring in their executives and land right there. Last but certainly not least is a business park. This town is far behind in their plans for a business park, whether it is a privately owned or a public park. There are towns that surround this town that have business parks, and one in particular that has a brand new one. I drove by it the other day. I actually called Tom and I said, oh my goodness. They are right next to us, guys, and it's beautiful. And if I'm a business, a good-sized business, 50 or more employees, and I need space, I loved it. I was embarrassed that I didn't know about it. And when I talked to Tom, he's like, I didn't realize it either, which is embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they have one before us, and they're a smaller town. It's embarrassing that we didn't know about it. And when I drove by it, I did one of these and spun around and drove in it. Then I called Tom and I said, we got to get out there and look at it. And we're going. Our committee is actually going to be going out there on a field trip. Call it a spy trip, I guess. But we're going. These towns will land those businesses that would bring jobs and lower our tax base. Our taxes will continue to rise, and services will continue to be taken away if we don't prepare. The time was 10 years ago. This problem has been ignored for too long. It is now the current board's problem. We need to move full steam ahead and get citizens in our town together to help. There is no way the board can do it alone. All the committees have to be moving together in the same direction if we are to continue to make Waterboro a beautiful, peaceful place to live. Nobody is insinuating that we get a Walmart in our town. That is not what we're saying. But a business park tucks the businesses out of sight, so to speak, while getting necessary tax revenue. This should be our town's #1 priority above all of the other concerns that are going on. We need a business park. We have lost our compass and need to get back on track to being a successful town. our committee is ready to help you. Finally, I want to make sure that all of those watching at home and those in attendance tonight realize that our community profits when our citizens use our local businesses. For those of you who want to attend one of our committee meetings, we meet the first and third Thursday of each month through the winter and spring at 4 p.m. here in this room. We'd love to hear from you. Please come by and listen and ask questions. And thank you for your time, unless there's other questions.
Any questions? Dave?
Those road counters, I mean, couldn't they be rented?
Could they be rented? You're gonna rent them every single year?
Well, they cost, what, $1,600 or something you said?
And then they're ours.
And how often are you gonna use them?
Well, I would think that we'd want to use them quite a bit, not just once. A lot of people might be asking, well, the state does counting. Actually, Roger knows this now, and when I met with him, we asked that question for road counts. The state did a road count in 2007, okay? That's outdated material as far as I'm concerned. Not only that, when we do seasonal stuff, we'll have to do seasonal counts, and I think if we were to get a road counter now, hypothetically, next year, I think that those road counts will change. And the year after that, they're going to change. And let me tell you why. As the economy changes, which it's going to change, things will start changing. People will start moving back to our town. Right now, they're moving out of our town. Whether we like to think that or not, I know firsthand. I deal with appraisals. I deal with people in their homes. They're leaving. They're leaving faster than we'd like to know. And I think there's someone on the board that knows that too. So if you ask him, he'll probably tell you the same thing. We need to be careful about too many people leaving. When we have road counters, as the economy changes, people start moving back into our town. Businesses come. So renting a road counter over time, we'd be losing money. And it's ours. We can use it at our whim.
Yeah. I mean, if you can rent a road counter for $150, let's just say $150 for 8 days, and you put 3 road counters, you get a count for $450. You haven't put down $4,500. You do that.
Hold on. We don't have 4,500.
Is it
It's $1,600 a piece, but if you buy them 2 at a time, there is a discount.
Okay, so you're still
$3,200 max.
If we got to come up with $3,000 for road counters, if you did a count by renting them, the first count, then you have time. You could do that. You could do a count pretty soon, probably with that amount of money, and then you say, okay, put it in the budget for next year, and you've had the opportunity to get that first count down, a baseline, and it's a start rather than kind of jumping in and throwing in $3,000 or $4,000 for road counters and not know exactly what you're going to do with them and when you're going to do it.
Well, here's the thing, John. That kind of sounds okay, except we're not doing it for 8 days. We have 67 miles. That's going to take more than 8 days. So when we rent them out, you want to rent them out every time we're going to do a road count. But when we own them, we can do the whole town. And the committee can, over time, continue to use them.
For road review, that's great, but I'm thinking for business, you're basically looking for the amount of traffic during various times of day coming in and going out of the town. So if a business is looking at locating here and want to know what the traffic is in and out of town, you've got that information. Road review, for other purposes, going to need it. So I know we're going to need the counters, but I'm thinking if you want that information fairly quickly before next town meeting, you can maybe rent it.
Well, if I want to know that information, I don't want to rent it. It's going to cost us too much money. To see, that's half the problem here, I think. We need to start thinking about investing in our town. I think that we're not productive of what we're doing. We're always looking in our rearview mirror trying to fix our problems. And you know, it's like Band-Aid here, Band-Aid there, oh, this one's bleeding, Band-Aid there, and then eventually, it's just all gonna gush. And you can't do that.
No, I'm
I
thinking
think-
about spending money we don't have.
I think part of the problem,
But that's the problem, though. We're spending good money after bad on things that we shouldn't be. We should be investing our money to make the town better. I don't care what anybody says, I'll argue with you guys until you're blue in the face. This is a business. This is a business. If you run a business, you don't Band-Aid stuff. You fix it and move on. You fix it not with renting stuff. If I need something at my business, I don't rent it, I buy it, because
part
I'm
of
gonna
the
need to do
problem,
everything.
Chris, is your attitude, okay?
My attitude is not, no, my attitude
is,
becomes,
all right?
you're asking to
And
rent stuff, it
you-
doesn't make sense.
Need to work with us and not direct
I did
what's
say
going on.
that we're ready to work with you.
Okay,
Absolutely ready to work with you.
all right.
So-
But I stand up here and I say things, and I feel like it's on deaf ears, and this isn't the first time you guys heard that.
I think,
And I said it wasn't this board. So you guys are taking it personal. I said it wasn't
No,
this board.
I'm
I said
not
we were ready to work with this board. And the committees are trying to work with this board. But when we come up here and suggest something, it's, let's rent this. Let's do that. That's not the answer.
That is not the answer, okay, but it is a solution to a problem, and we can't afford to.
We have more than 3 roads to put a counter on.
So,
But I-
so, Chris, if we just say, okay, then we don't have the $3,000, the first time we're gonna have that $3,000 is after after July 1st, so wait. Or we can say, geez, if you want some of that data, maybe we can rent it, maybe we can come up. So we're thinking about possible
Well,
ways of
yeah,
solutions.
John,
And
yeah.
you're saying, no, if you don't buy it, I don't want it, okay?
No,
We
that's
can't-
not what I said.
We'll see you in.
That's not what I said, John. And the second thing is, it's coming on winter time, so we can't even do counts much anymore. We're almost done. We're
so
at the
Chris,
time
I
to
think
count.
that we're looking at, would be an expenditure for the next
Absolutely.
fiscal year.
Absolutely,
So we start looking at budgeting in December, January.
absolutely.
EDC is going to maybe work with road review about putting in a budget request for that item, and so this isn't anything
Even
that
if
we're going to solve
one
tonight.
would be great.
It's not something we're going to solve a month from now.
No.
It's something that we're
Okay.
going to have to put
Yeah,
on
no, absolutely.
budgeting, so.
John, I think that you got confused with that. I wanted it yesterday. No,
It's kind of
the
what you
count,
said 10
the
years
count.
ago.
Yeah,
No, I was talking about a business park.
so.
10 years ago it
Anyways,
was a business park, not the
moving-
road counters.
Moving on. Do we have any other questions for Chris?
Well, I think, my only comment is that I think the EDC, if you're gonna work with a committee, then deal with the road review committee and make the recommendation to the road committee that you need this data from that. Let the road committee come up with a methodology of how they're gonna provide you with the data. You don't have all the solutions, although I think that there seems to be some put here that, well, the EDC is gonna tell you what we need, all right? Where I think it's a working together with the committees to determine what is it that the EDC needs for data, right? If the road review committee needs another couple of road counters or traffic counters, let the road committee go out and do that. Your request, the road committee, is gonna be, we need this data, right? And there's a lot of data available. I think just 2 weeks ago, the state had traffic counters on Daring Ridge Road and you
Yeah,
name the
those
road,
are
okay?
different counts. but-
Understand, but have you looked at that data? Do you know that data is valuable? Isn't it valuable? We just discounting
We
it
made a
because of the
call 8 days ago, and we were promised an email. It's 9 days, we haven't got it.
So I need
Dennis, I
an
respect
email, a
that.
follow-up call, and not
No, we have.
$5,000
We
worth of...
actually have. It's a little frustrating. But then again, we're 50th in business in this state, so that explains that. I did go to the road review committee, and I did ask them that. And that's exactly what happened. But I wanted you to know what we are talking about. And so we would love for the road review to help out, and I think they are right in line with what we would like to have happen. And Roger's been awesome about that, and he's learned that counter, and I think that we're gonna we're gonna test pilot it right out here in front of the town.
It's out here now.
It's out here, there you go. So it's out here now, so there you go.
I drove over it 4 or 5 times tonight.
You
Back and forth, back and forth.
make
Gordon?
sure we deduct his traffic, all right?
Gordon, you got a comment?
Yeah, I can see that Chris is passionate about this, and I think that we need people in the community that have a strong passion and a willingness to, see the community move. But we also need, I think, to temper that compassion with the understanding that there's a lot of competing entities that believe just as passionately that they need something. The taxpayer believes that we need to reduce taxes within the community, probably first and foremost. And if we had a difficult time trying to get a sign in front of the town hall. I'm sure that, we'll probably have that same argument regardless of the necessity or the validity of having traffic counters. When that goes before the town meeting as well, there will be those naysayers that say, why do we need that? I don't think that traffic counters necessarily give us a good indication of who's moving into town and who's moving out, but rather the traffic that's generated on the highways and people passing through the communities. I do think that that we are a bedroom community, not only to Biddeford, but to the Portland area and even Boston. And a lot of people that commute in those areas. And obviously, we're going to get some of the overflows. If you've read even more, the Portland Pirates are thinking of moving to Biddeford as well. So I'm sure that they're going to be sort of a hub of entertainment there. And I wonder how much traffic we're going to get through here because of the casino in Oxford. I mean, we can't overlook that, but we need to understand that, that when the Parks Department comes before us, and he's certainly a passionate individual, he's going to tell us that, he needs a building, for parks.
Yeah, I do.
And, we have the transfer station down there that they need a backhoe. Public Works that needs something, and, they can be passionate about it too, so.
Wouldn't it
As a
be
board, I
nice-
think, if I can finish just
Yeah.
a moment, I think to Dave's point, when he was mentioning, well, possibly we could rent it, I don't think we were necessarily saying that we shouldn't buy a traffic counter. I think he was saying is we should explore some alternatives. There may be a neighboring community that has a traffic counter that we could borrow for a short period of time, so that we have time to put in place some of these long-term things. And there are alternatives to everything. We don't have to buy. We lease a backhoe for the Public Works right now. We lease copying machines here at the town hall. There are things that have such an expense that maybe you can't buy them outright, but you can do it on a lease program.
Yeah, I
And,
mean, well,
maybe what I'm saying is there may be some alternatives that we need to look at that's going to accomplish what you need accomplished so that you have the figures. And I agree with you that 2007 figures aren't good. You've got to have accurate, up-to-the-minute data. But
I think, we got stuck on the traffic counters. It's important. That's not the most important thing that I said here tonight. And, again, I think it's slightly overlooking what the real problem is. And that's bringing good, solid businesses to our town to lower our tax base. I guarantee every citizen in this town, if we invested in that and it lowered their taxes, they would be all for it.
I'm
And
sure they would.
then that's what we need to do.
All right, any other questions? Chris? Okay, thanks, Chris.
One real quick, and it goes to both of you. I presume that you, and I know the 2020 committee has a secretary. We talk about communications in the town. I presume the EDC has a secretary. You need to get the minutes posted.
Yep. We had a changeover.
We go back to September on 2020 and back to like June.
Yep, and I noticed that today too because the agenda and was not posted for the Board of Selectmen either today. And that went all the way back to April. So, we'll get
The
it.
what?
The agendas, prior
The
agendas.
archives? The
They
archive agendas?
archived all of, the only thing that was available was April, and I called Pam, we got it taken care of. Okay, so we're working on that as well. Thanks.
All right. Okay, moving along to new business. Discuss vote to accept the amended growth management ordinance. We had the public hearing at 6 o'clock. We have the, in our packets, we had the proposed, which changed the growth permits from 74, from 80 to 74. So what's the pleasure of the board?
I will move that we accept the planning board's recommendation for the growth ordinance.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay. And discuss vote to sign abatements. We have 2 abatements in our packet this week. Abatement request 1121 and 1122. And what's the pleasure of the board?
I move to accept the recommendation of the assessing agent and pass.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Do we need to vote for the supplement, or do you?
That'll come up in
Yeah.
January, Dennis.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to old business, Charter Commission appointments. We had asked for applications for the Charter Commission. We ended up receiving 4. Jim Carl, Deb Wentworth, Diane Holden, and E. Jane. The board needs to appoint 3 members to the Charter Commission. What's the pleasure of the board?
Do you want to take this one at a time?
Well, we can only appoint 3
Right.
for the Charter Commission, so however the board wishes to proceed.
Uh,
Did you have a thought, John?
I would move to appoint Diane Holden to the Charter Commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay.
I move to appoint Jim Cowell to the Charter Commission.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Okay.
Make a motion that we appoint Deb Wentworth to the Charter Commission.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, so those are the 3 appointments. The next step is we'll need to set up the meeting within, what, 2 weeks left? So will that be? Yep. You? Okay. All right, so we'll get that on. Next on the agenda is committee appointments. We had a couple of committee applications in our packets this week. And what's the pleasure of the board of those?
I'll move to accept Diane Holden to the Finance Committee.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Okay.
Didn't you just get off that?
No, EDC.
Yeah.
Diane has been the secretary for the finance.
Right.
She would continue in that capacity.
Okay.
Oh, and only as a member of the committee? Okay. Anything else?
I move to appoint Wayne Woodson to the assessing board review.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? And I'm going to abstain because Mr. Woodsum and I have a disagreement, and I don't want it to be perceived that I have a conflict. So, all those in favor? And that was all set. All right. Next up, under old business, is discuss town hall scheduling. Do you need to be wearing a medical mask?
I hope not, I'm okay. I don't think I'm as sick as Dennis. So if he's willing to suck it up, fire away.
All right. We have a very full Parks and Rec calendar,
You do.
which seems to be creating some issues with renting out, is it just one page or 2? Okay, with renting out the town hall. A couple weeks ago, Mike, when you came in, it was passed along to the board that the Funergy was there till 6 o'clock, and
Yeah.
after 6:30, the space would be available, but now it seems like we're running into a few other conflicts. So we just need to have a very clear process in place, so when somebody wants to rent the town hall, there's one person that they are going to,
Okay?
and we have visuals.
Yes. We do. I printed out, well, David, thank you. I grabbed October and November's calendar for Town Hall, and it's a little bit of a jumble of where the meetings are, but certainly all of you who have been here a long time, Nancy probably doesn't need a copy of those, can kind of figure out what is going on in these buildings and wherever else we are here, so you can kind of take a look at that. I don't know, David, can you deal with me over here? I don't know if you want me to do this or not, but I really don't see much of a conflict. We've got,
I'll stop you right there, Mike.
Okay, good.
Because I don't think it's necessarily the committees that are the conflict.
Okay.
It's the other folks that want to come in on a Friday night or
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon and rent town hall.
well, let's go through it then,
Correct.
because we've got a whole
Yeah, because
mishmash of, excuse me?
Because our understanding was originally that the weekends were open,
Yeah,
and
they
then
are.
after that,
They are. I mean, I don't
every
see.
Saturday.
Well, we've had cribbage second and fourth for 11 years now, so there's no conflict there. And I see that for November, there are 2 conflicts that have come up, and I know about them. They've been on the calendar. One of them is on the 18th with the so-called garden club. I don't see a problem with that. We'll move our stuff out of the way and deal with it. And then the craft fair, which is an annual event here at Town Hall on Saturday, will be a little bit disruptive to us, but we'll move our stuff and deal with it. The other piece, I guess, would be any committee that is meeting over there before 6:30 PM. And looking at the last 2 months, I don't see any, other than the Water District, which meets the 1st and 3rd, is it, Pam?
Yeah.
1st and 3rd?
They had a problem too, right, Dennis?
Yeah, we haven't, and Matt's wrong, but the 2020 committee meets at 6.
2020.
We couldn't get into fire department, so we slid over here.
I didn't even notice that on the schedule.
And it's not on the schedule because it's supposed to.
No, it is, I'm looking right at it,
It's supposed to
actually.
be over at the fire station.
Well, good, leave it over there if you can, I really appreciate that.
The real issue is getting into the fire station, but that's another discussion. But the issue that we had is that if you show up here at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to run a meeting.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because there seems to be little to no control over kids running around the building.
I don't agree, at all. I have great control, my staff has great control over all of them, I
Maybe it
manage
was
this
just- maybe it
department.
was just that one night.
It was just that one night, absolutely.
Now, what about Saturdays?
What about it? I've got,
Gymnastics from 9 to 3?
yeah, that's been a pretty typical routine for the last 5 or 6 years, I would tell you.
Is that
Some of
every
it.
Saturday?
It's every Saturday, basically, you've got an overlap with cheering that's in that same mix right there. So we have pretty much been consistently running gymnastics, I'd say 32 Saturdays a year for the last 6 to 8, so I'm gonna say 7 years, I think we passed those pins on, if I'm not mistaken, Nancy, to Lisa. And we've had a regular entity over here on Saturdays for a long, long time. So I don't know what committee wants to meet on Saturday, or any group that generally wants to meet on Saturday, but if David would scroll up a little bit for me, I can recommend many locations throughout the town of Waterboro where they'd be able to relocate themselves in a very happy fashion.
Well, I think, Mike, looking at these meeting places, there's
Yeah.
only 3 of them there that are town-owned facilities.
Yeah.
And so we can't be sending our committees to, it disappeared.
They're doing a lot. No, the other left.
Right.
I mean, the
Well,
Taylor House, they don't
I feel
have,
like, I mean, this is a little
the
bit
Taylor
blurry.
House doesn't have a meeting room. The museum doesn't have a meeting room.
Yeah,
The schools, we have to pay a fee
no, we don't.
if it's under the auspice of Parks and Rec, but if some other citizen wants to have a meeting or a function at the school, they have to pay a fee.
Okay, so, what,
Yeah, I got some law in this over
I think that's the problem, I think he's.
we can go around and around on this, what's your pleasure? Tell me what to do.
Nancy?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
And Pam kind of looked at me. Gymnastics has been on Saturdays?
Yeah, pretty much. We
So
have-
was there a problem with somebody who has had it for years for wreath making and then couldn't have it this year?
I didn't speak to anybody about quote-unquote wreath making. I don't know where this came from. If I did, I misunderstood that.
Well, I know, Mike, you're passionate about your department.
No, I'm not, I can't stand it.
I'm kind of glad you raised your voice, by the way. But I think the main thing that has to be the decision, is that a Parks and Rec building, or is that a public building?
Well, it's clearly a public building, and I can appreciate that there's a burden upon everybody in both of these buildings when we are incredibly busy. And certainly when you look at the registration numbers that are taking place next door, we're incredibly busy. There's a noise element, there's a food element, there's a cleaning element, there's a staff element, there's all those elements that go into it. It certainly isn't for the glory of Mike DeAngelis that we're doing this, or the glory of any of our staff members. So I would say to you again, decide. I can coexist. I've coexisted for 10-plus years over there. Do we need our own building? God, yes. Are we going to get it anytime soon? Of course not. We don't have any money. I would tell you to allow us to keep every revenue dollar and not carry it into the surplus every June, and then maybe one day we could do that, but that's a different conversation.
And of course, I only have one other thing which you and I have talked about.
Yes, Nancy?
Is the cemetery. It's a burial ground, not a
Yeah.
playground.
We try not to use it. They get a little rambunctious and go scurrying out there on occasion.
I can remember years ago when a young lad killed himself.
I know Dennis
On the gate.
has been in the cemeteries a lot as a
Right.
youth. and-
John?
There was a number of years when I was principal of the school that we had these programs going on in the morning and the afternoon of the school. There's always, there's always scheduling problems, and there's
course.
always problems that, they're not huge, but they come up.
Right.
When you're talking about the program ending at 6:30,
Yeah.
that's when parents are supposed to be there at the latest to
Well,
pick up
we
their kids,
actually,
right?
I assume you're talking about, David, can you scroll up for me, please? I assume that you're talking about the big two, which is Funergy and Fun Camp, which are fairly new. Fun Camp certainly is, and we've done that for a long, long time now. What it is it's basically school vacation week. We have about 13 weeks a
No,
year.
I'm just talking about a program supposedly ending at 6:30,
Right.
and another one, and people wanting to come in and use that at 7 o'clock.
Should be
Well, when I was there last week with the Finance Committee, it was 7:15, and there were still kids and parents there and leaving. It was shutting down, but that's 45 minutes after it's supposed to be over. So it doesn't necessarily, there's going to be a little conflict in there trying to get your people out of
Yeah,
there, get the place cleaned up, and getting someone in there at 7 o'clock.
Definitely true, definitely true. The program ends at 6. Funergy is certainly our newest thing, and we've taken a lot of effort to get it up and running and to do it well and to really make sure that we're providing parents with stable people, certified people, teachers, adults to watch their children and not kids. We have a couple of high school seniors on our staff as well that are very, very good kids that we're very, very proud of. We have a large staff with everything we do. We close at 6 p.m. Tonight, everybody was gone by 5:40. You bumped into us on a goofy night, John. I remember talking to you that night. Gordon, it was the night I called you. It was the night we got sick, Bob, actually. It was last November 8th is what it was.
Yeah, Mike, the goofy nights are what come back here, though. So the thing is, because that happens, it's part of, you're gonna have goofy nights, and those goofy nights bump into someone that wants to be in there and needs to be in there at 7 o'clock, and your people aren't out of there, and the place is kind of a mess, And that's when it kind of comes back to the Board of Selectmen. So those are the things right there that we're looking at here. How can we, if there's a 7 o'clock, people want that area for 7 o'clock, how can we not run into the possible, if not probable?
I would tell you to have Nancy yell at me. She does it all the time, and I deserve it. And when she does, I try to listen very, very well, and I usually do.
After you get done having your crying spell.
I'm
You know,
looking.
I think there's a very easy solution here. We have to have some coexistence between this being a public facility and some use for Parks and Rec.
Definitely.
You need to be very concise in providing a calendar to Pam so she knows exactly when that space is and is not available.
I agree.
And if somebody wants to utilize that space, there's one person that they need to be going through, and that's Pam.
Fine.
But you have to make sure that you're keeping your calendar updated with Pam, so if there's a
Right.
change, you know, so.
This is historically the busiest time of year for Parks and Recreation departments, and if you look historically at our numbers, you'll see that we're just crazy. We got 16 basketball teams up and running. We've got 25 cheerleaders going. We've got an art club with 13 kids in it. And then we started Funergy that's just turned it. We're at capacity, literally. We're turning parents and children away from that program because we don't want to put more than 28 or 29 back there at a time. It's only for an hour and a half when you slice it all out. We're picking them up at 3:30. By the time we get over there, get our coats off, have a drink of water and a snack or two, it's 4 o'clock and they're getting picked up. There's going to be some overlap. John, getting back to your point on the Finance Committee meeting, what you saw in there that night was just my staff with one of their own children cleaning up a few loose ends in there. I think on any other night, the place is dead deserted, except on Tuesday. Except on Tuesday when we have art class. I'm going to stop right there because I'm
So
digging
if
myself
someone
a
came
hole.
by came along and on Monday night wanted to rent that place from 7 to 8,
I would
And
think
then you
Pam would
say-
say it's impossible
Yeah, so-
because Monday's our busiest night.
so that communication
Right.
between you and Pam is
Right.
absolutely essential.
Yeah.
That you get the information to her. Also, she says this is being rented next week at Monday, and you got to tell your people, you got to get out here real early.
I
And
did.
maybe you tell your parents to make sure you get here on
I
time.
had a staff meeting absolutely today with the gang, and I said, we've got a tough week here. We've got garden club at 6:30 Thursday. We've got 3 issues this week. First issue was tonight, our art club, which is getting very popular. We just started it. We had 13 kids, so we had to move everything aside to get prepped for that. And then on Thursday, Pam told me that the garden club was doing their wreath-making gig. I love that. It's a great thing to do. It's a recreational activity. Arrowhead does one as well with like 60 people showing up. Beautiful. Trash the place, get sap everywhere, no problem, we'll move our stuff. Thursday, we have the town hall flea market, craft fair thingamajiggy.
Saturday.
Which is, right. So we've got 3 issues this week. It's a crazy time of year, basically. I promised you a schedule. I promised Pam one. I wish I had gotten it to you sooner. Sorry.
And I would say that if there's any issues, they need to go through Nancy.
She yells at me all the time.
Does the board have any other comments, or?
Maybe too much, it's not doing any good now, Mike.
If you look at this schedule, let me say one more thing. We realized right away, Pam and I, and it's my fault, that Monday night is just a bad night. Everybody meets on Monday night. In fact, Robert and I and the Parks and Rec Committee meet on Monday night. The transfer station, which I'm a member of with David, meets on Monday night, and certainly Dennis has been there a lot. And we also have the Water District meeting on Monday night. We've got the 12-town group is over here. We've got a ton of meetings on Monday night. When I realized that, I asked Lisa if we could take gymnastics away from Monday night once this session ended. Right away, she said, yeah. Right now, we're using Monday nights for gymnastics. Our last week is on the 29th. We will not schedule any evening activities on Monday because historically, it's always been the busiest night for committee meetings. I hope that will help.
And before you change, check with Pam, because some committees are changing their meeting night from Monday to another night, so
Okay.
it does have a domino effect.
That could confuse me and make everybody angrier, but I will.
You could move
We've
to a
already-
night that other committees had already moved
We've
to.
already created our schedule for our next session of our little core programs, like gymnastics, like cheering, and like art club. And we're staying off Monday nights. If it becomes necessary for me to get off Thursday and...
Finance committee's moving to Thursday.
Okay. Finance, I mean, that front room at 7 PM, I cannot imagine that being a problem ever, because we're,
They meet at 6, I believe.
And to go back to what Dennis was saying about the kids running up and down the hallway.
Yeah.
I think it's more when parents are coming in to pick up kids that are at functions.
Yeah.
And then when they're leaving with them, because I can say when I've been at meetings, that 6, 6:30, 7 o'clock time frame, that hallway is zoom, 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 zoom. So it's not necessarily.
A couple weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
nonsense.
It's not necessarily that the kids that are at the program are running out into the hall. I think it's the pickups.
Yeah.
That are, so maybe
I gotta
you
say
can
that I-
communicate with your parents that they need to be conscious and keep
I
their
gotta
kids
say that I
on a-
feel like you're too late. I respectfully, tonight, we were done at 5:40. There was no more children there. I
It's
don't,
not just Funergy. I think it's some of the other, like,
gymnastics maybe on
Yeah.
Wednesday? Okay, that's likely.
Yeah.
Because we've got that overlap there. We've got a 1.5-hour block on Thursday, for example, in that back room that we do. And there's 2 classes built into that mix right there. So you've got 10 coming in and 10, and the kids are very excited to be with us. And they look at the place and they want to run, and it's good for them. So
any other questions?
I hope the schedule will
All set,
help us
Pam?
all, and
Almost.
Okay. All right.
I'll shut up, I guess. And
All right,
keep
thank you,
going.
Mike.
Thank you.
Next, under old business, town hall restructuring status. Gordon asked for this to be on the agenda. I know that part of that is the administrative assistant to the town administrator position. Nancy did forward a recommendation to us, so I think we're probably ready next week to vote on that. And then the next step from there is Nancy having to go into negotiations with
I
the
have to forward them to
the labor board and
business
then the union.
manager.
I guess
So
when I
we have
originally
that.
wanted to get this on there was more the things that we could do now that weren't encumbered by getting concessions from the collective bargaining unit or the administrative aspect of getting certain things done, but the consolidation of offices, as we spoke, bringing the assessor and the planner over to this area here and resetting up those offices so that they're working out of that same thing. These are the visible things that I think that we can accomplish without, you know, like say, having to wait for the administrative aspects of it.
Comments, Nancy?
You can move them over there. The problem is they won't be able to do, they'll be doing the same things that they are doing now. I mean, nothing will be combined until the process is already through. And I think one thing we gotta look at is these 2 offices here. I mean, I don't, Jerry, how many file cabinets do you have? What, 9, 10? More than that?
I mean, both rooms together?
Yeah.
Including the deeds? Well, I bet you we're pushing 20, 15.
So we can make room for them over there too.
20 file cabinets?
Well, you get, I have the register, the deeds are in my office.
Yeah.
The cards are in my
The
office.
cards are in her office. And if you add them all up, do we have
I
15?
got at least 6 or 7 in my office, 6 in my office.
I got 5, I think. 4, 5, 6.
Well, probably max 12.
You can find 15.
Yeah,
I mean, if you count the ones that we're using,
they're stuffed.
they got their stuff.
We need like a filing cabinet library.
Need a filing cabinet.
Need to get them out of the filing cabinet.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering, why we don't have a central records.
We don't have space. I'm occupying a copy room. So we've already used up some of the,
Yeah, but the issue is how much of that stuff can be put online or on a system rather than having all, I mean, you gotta have the hard copies, understand. But, and those can be archived, but they could also be in at Iron Mountain somewhere, stored, and we've got access to them on a computer. You can get everything back from Iron Mountain in a couple of days, so somebody did need to.
What's that, a company that does?
Yeah, they just do storage for records.
Off-site records too.
But, it's like, we're gonna be here a year from now, and you're gonna say, well, now I got 20, right? Or I got 25, and it becomes a point where,
That hasn't been here too long. Yeah. No, we could start to reduce it, I think, if we really focus on the fact that we need less file space to have more people space.
Yeah,
something we ought to look at. We're not gonna solve it tonight, but I
No.
mean, it's something.
I hear what Gordon is saying here, and part of it is not necessarily that what goes on in here changes that much, but it's the essence that the board made the decision to departmentalize in a different way, and it starts to come alive, that it is actually happening, that it's not one of those things that's gonna happen, but it's actually happening. So it's kind of, I think in a way, all of us getting used to it, that the change is taking place. So I think in a way, even though it might not have a direct effect, there's an essence that the change is happening.
I think there will be some direct benefits. I think it'll be in terms of communication between the two.
Yeah.
Because I know when we discussed things in the past, it was, well, geez, how come the CEO doesn't let the planner know this, or the tax assessor doesn't know this, because nobody's bothered to tell them that so-and-so got an occupancy permit so that he knows about the taxes. When they're centralized, they'll have that communicative aspect where some of the things that slip through the cracks now won't be slipping through the cracks, and will be operating more efficiently.
And I didn't mean to sound like a wet blanket, I agree, but the problem is space.
What, just,
Even Nancy's, I mean, the voting stuff, I'm not gonna complain about what's going on over there, certainly after, torturing you guys, but it's 2 truckloads, and Pete and I moved it 2 weeks ago, and there's nowhere to put it. I mean, it's
Yeah, you brought home,
borderline fire hazard, basically.
you brought back 2 truckloads, I brought back 2 vehicle
And then I
loads,
went
and
back
we
the
had to go
next
back the
day.
next day and get another
It's
truckload.
a lot of stuff to 4,200 people sometimes when we're voting our elections. We used every booth, every handicap booth. Nancy's got a box of, David, of electronics and the fax item. We need a Quonset hut or a storage shed, literally. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
We got a storage
Put it at the transfer station.
the
Central Fire?
Fire station.
Yep, the old station.
I think that's cool.
It's a little,
Yeah, it's full with a bunch of stuff that's
it's a
in
little,
there by now.
it's a little
Surplus
spidery
sale.
in there.
It's got a very large basement over there too, it just needs a wall.
Yeah.
And some dehumidification.
Well, the trouble with that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we have records down there now that are in serious condition as far as, their viability 5-10 years down the road. We certainly, with that understanding and that mold, I guess, issue, we're not gonna put more records down there than are gonna be.
There's nothing in there that ever would have prevented that though, that could be,
Could be rectified.
rectified
You
for sure.
you would have to have one of those constant dehumidifiers that pump outside.
Well, it's
Some
not-
type of air control.
Listen, and we're not gonna solve it tonight. It's not like that stuff's gonna go away, right? We're gonna have to at some point in time.
But, I mean, if we don't bring it out on the table, at least discuss it, it's gonna just keep putting off and putting off and putting off. So I guess we gotta start somewhere. I agree with you that we're not gonna solve it, but we could at least, maybe set it up for a workshop so that we can formulate exactly what we wanna do, or, start the process rolling.
Maybe one of the things, too, that we could do is, I think we've shared with the staff the way that we want to break up the departments. And maybe this is a perfect time to engage the staff and say, okay, here's how we want to break up the departments. What are your suggestions for potential building layout? Because they all know what they've got for records and what space and whatnot that they know, that they need. They know the space that's that's here. And you know what, some of them may have some suggestions that are better than anything that we could come up with, because we don't know that Jerry has 15 filing cabinets that we're gonna, try to cram into one tiny office. So maybe this is the opportunity. We said we wanted to engage them in this process, and hey, maybe here's the very first step where we can engage that and start that conversation with them.
Yeah, we'll have to check each office too, and it's going to include running phone lines too, and
Phone lines, computer lines.
everything.
Other thoughts?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things that you may be moving in 3 or 4 different waves. So, there's the setting up, okay, what's the first transfer? The other thing is, as you're looking at all those file cabinets, we talked about having a filing room somewhere. So maybe some of them can stay back, and that's in the general area, and can be some of them can be in a filing area. I don't know. I don't know what the nature of all those filing cabinets are, but some of them may be less used by the people over here and could remain there. I mean, that's some of the things that we need to talk to the staff about. And but I think the first thing is getting a workshop and saying, here's our first step. A move involves these 2 offices. B involves the next one. So we have a plan, and it's set up, and we have a timeline on it.
We're actually going to do the workshop on the 30th this month, and we've got, the EDC and the planning board and all of that coming in. I don't know that we want to necessarily wait till the end of December to have this conversation again, if this is something that we want to move on. So do we want to maybe look at the first December 7th? And do you know if we have any public hearings or anything coming up, Pam? And maybe on the 7th, continue this conversation, and that would give us time to say to the staff, hey, what do you have for suggestions?
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
And then kind of take all of that, and on the 7th, we'll talk about it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Gordon, Dennis, sound agreeable? So Nancy, can you put something out to the staff to collect some ideas? We have warrants for bills and payroll. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? The minutes from 11/9/2010. I do note one correction, that the meeting started at 5:30 and not 5:45. So I entertain a motion to accept the
So
minutes with
moved.
that. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Pending decisions, medical marijuana ordinance, and the planning board has public hearing coming up on that. Our public service announcements, our week's action list. Nancy, you're going to touch base with Pam LaRue about the risk map. The board each needs to get Nancy a note regarding what each of us would like to see in our performance audit before Friday, so Nancy can start putting that together. Is there anything else? I think that was about it. Items needing are actually the discussion of agenda items for next week. Will we have a price for the dam gates next week?
He's working it up, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so we'll kind of just put that on as a tickler. I had a note that we needed to do some follow-up with the planning board on issue that David sent to them, and that was on the notification of the abutters that you had requested. We haven't heard anything from that, so maybe we can have some kind of a correspondence with the planning board and get an update on where that is. We have approved the admin assistant to the town administrator job description to approve. Need to look at the holiday schedule for the town departments because, again, Thanksgiving's next week. And I got an email from Dana Fisher from Efficiency Maine regarding the PACE ordinance, and there's a contract whereas we've passed an ordinance, and I'll send that on to Nancy, and I don't know if the town attorney needs to look at it first or whatnot, but if that's all set, we'll need to have that, if not next week, then coming up. Anything else for the agenda next week?
We have a public hearing at 6 o'clock for a
Liquor license. Woody's Sports Bar on Middle Road, West Road,
The old Sully's.
the old Sully's.
It's going to be called what?
Woody's.
Woody's?
Anything else? Okay. Reminders. Actually, we'll go into items need signature, warrants for bills and payroll, the minutes from 11/9, appointment papers, GA appendix A through C, sidewalks, snow removal contract. Reminders, the Land Trust is meeting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall. Also tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. is the Planning Board here at the Annex. Thursday, November 18th, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. is the York County Community Action LIHEAP. You do need to call and get an appointment for that, and if you'd like to call, the phone number for that is 324-5762. And David, could you put a tickler on the website with that phone number, please? Thursday, November 18th at 4 p.m., the Economic Development Committee is meeting at the Town Hall. November 18th, 6:30 p.m., the Garden Club is meeting at Town Hall. Saturday, November 20th, 9 to 4, the Historical Society Craft Fair at Town Hall. 9 to 2? Okay. Yeah, they need some time to clean up. So 9 to 2 is the Historical Society Craft Fair. Monday, November 22nd, 7 p.m., the Transfer Station Recycling Committee at Town Hall. And Tuesday, November 23rd, 6 p.m., the Selectmen's meeting at Town Hall Annex. And reporting will be EMA, Fire Department, and the Town Deputy. And just one quick note that the motor vehicle agent asked me to make folks aware of. As of January 1st, 2011, Maine will no longer be a 15-year title state. Any vehicle that's 1995 and newer will always need a title. And again, that will pass on January 1st, 2001. So if you have a 95 or newer vehicle, you must have a title. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, and we'll see everybody next week.